So yes, indeed, we're joined by Mr. Lawrence Alubi. He was a former commissioner of police, FCT command. He joins us this morning to shed some light on at least some backstory, some understanding about how some of these things work, because there's so many areas that people just don't understand, because you think they're just as straightforward, but apparently it may not be. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on the program. Well, unfortunately...
Thank you for having me.
Unfortunately, it turns out that several attacks on police formations, one would have thought that after perhaps, the NSAS incident, which some unscrupulous elements took advantage of it, that measures were being taken to ensure that that understanding is there, bridging the gap between the policed and the police. But with these attacks, give us your thinking about why these things are happening. Why are formations being targeted?
Yeah, it is really very, very, very serious and disappointing that Nigerians don't seem to appreciate the invaluable contribution of the Nigerian police force to the stability, peace, and security of this country. It's an act of ingratitude, and it's an aggression against the people and government of this country. And I think it's debasing, it's shameful, and it's not acceptable anywhere in the world. The police are there to maintain law and order for you. Nations are built on law and order. A nation that is not secured cannot survive. Section 14b provides that the prime purpose of government is the security and well-being of the citizens. And the government of this country should do everything to be sincere. I'm happy that Mr. Vice President in the course of decorating the new IG said that things are really bad and that there's need to do more for the police. And then this is 24E of the Constitution also provide that the Constitution needs to every Nigerian citizen to assist security agencies in maintaining law and order. Then those who are doing this, are they assisting the country? Are they assisting, do they love this country? Are they assisting the police in line with the Constitution, which is their constitutional duty? But in this country, we are concerned about our right. Nobody is concerned about these obligations. You see, even the Garden of Eden, God gave Adam and Eve a law. And you can only enjoy your rights and privileges when you obey the law. Rose in the theory of constitutional contract, postulated, that you have to sacrifice some of your rights to enable the state protect you and maintain law and order. But now in this country, we just want about freedom. How can we attack a police station? Police who are there to maintain law and order for you, to serve you. It's an act of ingratitude, and it is condemned in all aspects of human understanding. It's not acceptable. And the government sees this as a very serious and affront to the government of this country on our state stability and our sovereignty. Now, already, like you mentioned earlier, the NSAS, the police were so demoralized. Are they no longer being wanted? Man, they're serving the country. And the police are there to serve the people. Even the dead, the highest thing if the dead man is peace. Peace. May he rest in peace. You don't say, may he go and have gold and mansions. May he rest in peace. Who is providing peace for you, maintaining law and order for you? It should be more treasured and loved in life. There are two things that every human being wants to possess: life and property. I mean, law and order, peace. He who gives you peace should be appreciated and loved and encouraged and motivated, not to be demonized and not be destroyed. Police is a victim of a defective society. It's unfortunate that it's happening to the police.
Let me take up that perspective. When you say police is, function defective society, that bit, well, it appears there's a cycle here. But in all of these, does the police take a step back and ask, okay, look, several things are wrong in society. We know there's unemployment, we know there's poverty, people will be frustrated out there, and people could take out certain things on institutions, no matter rightly or wrongly, depending on how they perceive it. But does the force sit back and ask ourselves, can we police the country differently in terms of our attitude, our approach to policing, so that, the public don't perceive us as though it's us and them? Does that happen within the force?
You see, what is happening today is the reflection of, it has some historical base. I'm a sociologist. You see, we look at how Nigerian police was established or created. It was created by the British government to protect purely British interests, colonial interests. And they were there to protect, defend, protect the interest, not against the interests of the people. Against interests of Nigerians. Even those who were fighting for our political independence were even thrown behind, like an arrow of blessed memory, were thrown behind the bars. So the people saw the police as agent of government. The police was just in a regime protection. And that mentality, that attitude has continued to snowball even after our independence and even to under democratic demonstration. So the police need to orientate themselves, change the attitude. And the people, you see, life is based on the principle of reciprocity. The citizens themselves have always seen them, police are against us, and they see police as enemy of the society. It's not supposed to be so. Police are the most friendly citizens of people that the society will want to have. Because they are there to maintain law and order for you. And without law and order, you cannot go about a lot of business and transactions. So that mentality, that negative perception about the police has continued over time. And this has now, perception determines attitude. The way you perceive me, the way will determine the way I behave to you or you behave to me. So that attitude, that perception, which is negative, and even our political class or leaders don't have empathy, don't have compassion. They don't have compassion on the citizens, and the citizens also don't have compassion for the leaders. And that's why they are kind of like misplaced aggression, misplaced anger on the police, and we are the victim of what is happening. Victim of bad governance, bad leadership, corruption, insensitivity, impunity. The police are just a victim of what this problem in society, social problem in society. So it is a societal problem. It's systemic. And it is the police themselves need to orientate themselves. I strongly recommend that. I'm happy that the new IG has recognized the fact that what he's going to inherit is very enormous and challenging. And he has acknowledged the fact that there's a problem you need to face. That understanding the problem is also a solution to the problem. That he understands that the things need to be done. And he also said that he wants to make sure that the premise of the police force as a principal agency of internal law and order is also being sustained or being carried out. The police is a primary agency in terms of law and order, the type of internal security of this country. But the police people have deliberately or gradually been eroding the police powers, trying to run down the police for their own political interests. And now that's what the consequence of what they have done. If you fix the police, you fix Nigerian internal security. Like, for instance, Section 217 says that the military are there to come in aid of the police. But now the military have now overtaken most of the policing is now being militarized. Military roadblocks everywhere, and so forth. Every small thing you see, military men protecting contractors who are building roads or constructing bridges and so forth. It's supposed to be so. Internal security is the police. The police should be given power. The government too has not done well. The government has neglected the police for too long, and these are the consequences. You cannot, the government should be sincere. It's underfunded, understrength, undermotivated. Why now the answers ended, they were all demoralized. Now again about Imo State. What is happening in this country? What are we? Are we not civilized? Are we not civilized? Police are those you should have cherished everywhere in the world. It's an issue that it's indispensable in anywhere in the world. Therefore, we should cherish, we should protect our police, support our police, and the police themselves should also look inward. I strongly recommend to the new IG. It's talking about community policing. Community policing is community engagement in crime control, crime law and order, or crime protection within our communities. But then it doesn't end there. The community policing only talk about citizen participation. I want to recommend that. You see, the type of government in the country determines the style of policing. The one we had the colonial administration, for instance, we have colonial policing, which is repressive, brutality, and so forth, abuse of human rights, and so forth. We got the military. Military is built by decrees. The military were not concerned about democratic values and norms. When in a democracy, the police should imbibe democratic norms and values. They're not policing animals, they're not policing woods, they're policing human beings. I'm happy the IG says they're policing with human face. Human face, that they're policing human beings. To that empathy, application of emotional intelligence to what would you want to be done to you like the God will do unto others. So I think we need to look inward. The police leadership should look inward. Not just like now. I used to be federal operations for 5 years. I was in charge of federal operations for 5 years in Nigerian police, the longest ever in the history of Nigerian police force. I was there for 5 years. And what we are saying to this also, the operation department has been run down. Operation is the live wire of policing. That's what the citizens see. Law and order, crime prevention, crisis management, these are all what the citizens see. The citizens do not say about police administration. When they see the operations, if the operation is weakened, the whole system is weakened. It's a terrible of policing. So I think the IG should look at how to strengthen its operational strategies, bring about innovation, creativity and innovation. How do we address problems the way they come and see how you can also save the situation? So they should work with the citizens should also know that they have a duty in line with 24 the Constitution to come out and say, build their own nation building. It's based on law and order. When there's law and order, even in that Garden of Eden, when God said, Adam, you don't do this, when you disobey, your rights to be in the Garden of Eden, it's no longer, you cannot do that any longer. You know,
Mr. Alobi, if you can
disobey the law, when your president should learn the culture of obedience to the law, obedience to the law. That's what will give you, to guarantee your freedom to enjoy rights. So I think citizens should know that we should, and again, my colleagues in the civil society, emphasize on right. Nobody talk about our obligations. We have obligations.
Mr. Alobi, just one moment.
As citizens.
Yeah, just one moment. We'll come to some of the issues that you have raised as well, but from some of the things that you have said so far, I am gleaning that the reasons, you are adducing the reasons for the attacks on Imo police stations on both internal factors from within the police and external. So when you're talking about issues that could have arisen from within the police system, whether at the federal or state levels, that could have given rise to this, if you can decrypt them and put them in perhaps some bullet points, what are these issues that you think, unless they are addressed, this trend is not going to end?
You see, like I did mention to you that I used to be in charge of federal operations for 5 years. Operation is the live wire of policing. And that's what the citizens see every day, day to day of their life. Crime control, crime prevention, maintain law and order, crisis management, maintain law and order. This is what the citizens see. They want to see that security, all their police duties, what they see day to day on the street and so forth, how they respond to crisis situations, how they manage crisis and so forth. That has been weakened. It has been weakened. And that is weakened. The police service is gone. So emphasis should be concerned about how do we strengthen our security operation, and that is capacity building. And put an officer there who knows his onions. Not just put anybody because you have a rank. No, it's not the rank you have a rank. It is capacity. You have the capacity and also the passion to do your job. Not after going after money and power.
Yes.
Promoting that. Policing is not a profit-oriented service. It's service-oriented.
Mr. Alobi, just 1 second. Are you suggesting that there is some kind of sabotage within the police for which reasons these things are happening?
No, there's not necessarily sabotage. What the thing is that the police themselves are demoralized. That's some commitment. That commitment to the commitment no longer there. Other factors like corruption, nepotism, and so forth. You see, when things are done based on equity and fairness, postings should be done based on what somebody's capacity. That's what it should be. Not because of you have come from a particular ethnic group or because you know somebody or because you need to and so forth. Corruption, Mr. Diagi should also address the issue of corruption. Issue of this favoritism in postings and so forth. An officer should be posted where he has capacity, not just because he knows some Mr. A or B or where he comes from. No, those parochial tendencies should not be considered. It's capacity, competence, and capability that you can deliver. You're there to render service. You have the passion to render service. You see, life is all about money and power. Life is all about service. And when you serve, God has to know how to reward. God knows our needs. God knows how to reward you. But when we think about money and power, we become beastly in our attitude, become beastly in our actions. We are so materialistic.
Okay.
We think about that after even there's life after this mortal world, this spiritual life we have to live. We need to demonstrate the God in us. God in us. We're this room.
Yeah, Mr. Alobi, just 1 second, so that we can really get some value from what you're saying. Now, you have talked about the issues as far as the police itself is concerned. And you have also referenced the responsibility of the citizens. But if the citizens do not see a police that is showing a high sense of responsibility, they're going to just throw caution to the winds themselves. They see the things that some of these policemen, do. And so if the police cannot protect itself, how can the people have confidence in the police protecting them?
Yeah, like what I said, it is, like I said, operationally. there's a lot of lapses. Because what happened in Imo State Police Headquarters is unacceptable, and the police, because in any police formation, even in a small outpost, what they call station guard, you must protect self-preservation. You must protect your station first. I must be a standby to respond to any distress, any crisis. That can reinforce. We have standby unit that can reinforce and respond to situations. That can then go on for 2-3 hours. Hoodlums were attacking the police headquarters, and there was no reaction, and nobody was brought down. Nobody was seen to have been brought down. That is what kind of firepower those people have that the police should not have. So I think there's a big lapse on the police, and I think the police should. I think they should address that squarely. Issue of operation, training, capacity. Officers should be trained. When I was area commander in Enugu, every month I introduced a training program for my officers in the within my area command. I will bring them from all the divisions, carry training, because an untrained policeman is a threat to himself and a threat to society and to the institution. You must be carrying out training. You have to be creative. You have to be innovative. How do you empower my men? How do I make them more effective? Because the more they are trained, the better the more useful they are to you and to the society or to the institution. So
those questions you asked
should be emphasized.
Right.
Training is very, very important. Operational training. I want to recommend that the IG should create community policing and democratic policing. Democratic policing is policing of the people and policing in line with democratic norms and values. What are democratic norms and values? Policing by the consent. Everybody in Nigerian police are Nigerians, and they are policing for the interests of Nigerians. And they should also have respect for the human rights, respect for the rule of law, and policing based on needs of the people, to provide security needs of the people. And the people themselves should also appreciate the police. Life is based on the principle of reciprocity. We should have empathy. They have empathy about both the police and the citizens have empathy for one another. And the government itself not just making political statements.
Right.
I'm happy that my vice president, like I said, when he was decorating the new IG, remarked that there's a lot of things need to be done. The government should walk its talk. The government should not have obligation. Because a duty on that system 14B of the Constitution. That's the primary function of any government at all levels. And so, please, the government should sit up and do the needful. Empower its police. That's the primary function.
You know,
elected as elected as either executive or legislative or judiciary, whatever level of government, state or local government or federal. You know, have responsibility.
Pardon me to come in now. These attacks we have seen over the past few months, especially in Imo State, at least 7 of them, successive attacks. I mean, it's not carried out by a majority of the citizens. It's a section that has been described as gunmen. Some call them terrorists, and also maybe this ingratitude is not from the general population. I mean, you still have people that do right by the police, people that still give intelligence to the police from time to time. But you raised some questions earlier on. And honestly, I want you to answer those questions because you know better. How is it easy to attack police stations? Now, these are not homes of individuals. These are not soft targets. These are police formations where you find policemen with arms and ammunition. How is it easy to attack these police stations? Not once, not twice, not 3 times, at least 7 times. And it seems that this trend is continuing. How is it easy to attack police stations?
Yeah, you see, like the criminals also keep surveillance on police security agencies. They might pretend to come for something else, but they're taking to gather information about what you are doing, to know how you are. Let me give you an instance. There was a situation in Lagos, a situation where Oyenusi, they went to a bank. They saw the mobile policeman. They're very at alert. What is gone? Because you know, and in law bail. There's no way. This man is very at alert. Then I went to the next bank. They saw the policeman was lousy. They said it's gone. I shot him, and they broke into the bank. So the police need to be at alert and vigilant. And that's part of the training. What are they there for? You think about their own self-protection. But when they are lousy, you know, when they see them, they are lousy, and that is kind of supervision. Sometimes these men are being deployed. They're not being supervised to see, are they up and doing their duties? Are they at alert to respond to situations? They have the capacity. And then again, they have the firepower. So a policeman is sometimes a police station, they don't have enough weaponry or equipment. Policing today is in 21st century is technically driven and knowledge-based. You need to be a higher capacity. Intelligence is citizens give information to the police. Police now analyze that information to see whether it is actionable, whether it is intelligence or not. Does it suit the purpose and so forth? So the point is that the police themselves need to do a lot for themselves. The IG has a lot to do, and I'm happy that he appreciates the problem that they tapped before him is enormous. And I think the police themselves should rise to the occasion.
When you speak about
action at all levels.
Right, just a moment.
To the IG.
As we wind down on this one, when you speak about police acting on intelligence, I mean, yesterday, the former DSS operative did tell us that the police more than once received intelligence about what was going to happen. And there were people who were surveilling police station. So how come there was that inaction as well? Or did they just dismiss such intelligence as though, well, whatever happens, happens?
You see, some officers, even not only in the police, some people are lousy in their duties. You need to be at alert, mentally at alert at all times. Be creative. You see, security operations, you need to think ahead, plan ahead, and work ahead. You need to be proactive, not reactionary. Not trying to wait until when it occurs because it might snowball to a point where you cannot manage. You need to be creative. You need to think, how can I do to outclass? You must be. So the point is that the police officers now they should learn to be creative at all levels. But from the IG down, not just be there, or shouldn't be business as usual. There should be a change. They should reinvent their operational strategies, reinvent their training, reinvent their attitude. They should be committed. And the citizens also should appreciate and encourage the police. That's what I'm saying of this issue of reciprocity. When the police are effective, the citizens enjoy because the law and order will be granted and so forth. And when the citizens support the police will do well. When the citizens are beginning to attack the police, you demoralize them. Already the police are already demoralized. They don't have equipment. They don't have a good weapon, modern weapon. They don't have the gadget. They're not motivated. Look at the environment. I went to a police station in Calabar. I'm from Cross River State. I saw area command office in a container. That is unacceptable in modern police in the 21st century. Where lies the dignity? Where lies the self-esteem? In a container? That's unacceptable. If you want to establish a police station, you have to put the infrastructures on ground. On ground. Give a sense of fulfillment, sense of self-pride. You go there, you don't have where to sit. You begin to perch around a tree. It's debasing. They have debased the Nigerian police force, and the country will have that's why it's suffering the consequence. So this country should realize that they need to have a police force that they cherish. A police force that they should take to their heart. People that should support and encourage, should motivate and train so they can serve them better. Now the police has been attacked. It's the Nigerian government has been attacked. Nigerian society has been attacked. Like I said, this is an attack against the people and government of this country. And you just said the police, it is debasing, it is shameful, it's unacceptable. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Mr. Alobi.
It's becoming too frequent. And we clap up, we look at we see that as if it's okay. Not okay. The police themselves address this, analyze situation. What we do, when I was in service, after each operation, we do what we call a post-mortem. You analyze the situation. Where did we fail? What do we need to do? And so forth. And you draw an operation order. Now, I don't know whether you even have operation orders, whom you hold accountable and so forth. So there are a lot of things need to be done. He has a lot to do. And I hope that he will seek counsel and have a listening ear because some of them, when they get there, the thing goes into their head, they play.
We certainly look forward to that as well.
They play God.
All right, then, Mr. Lawrence Alobi, we have to thank you for your time this morning. Lawrence Alobi is a former Commissioner of Police in the FCT command.